feel like the draft once again. Let's see two more team comps that have good identity that leads to a close game, because the series so far has been really great. The most competitive ROX Tigers ROX Tigers series we've seen since the Samsung series.
Yeah, so Corky Azir banned out by the Tigers so far, so not wanting to deal with Fly's Azir has been pretty good tonight.
You just have to think back. Fly's shown a lot on Azir recently and not much on most of the rest of his champion pools. I think taking away Azir, a safe blind pick, a strong mid lane champion that's very much in the meta, is smart. Attack Fly's champion pool, because he's the one with the biggest question mark on KT's side.
Alright, so Kindred banned out.
That's had 2 games in a row of Kindred. So Kindred and Italy, the 2 strongest skirmishers, are banned away. And if they can force Peanut onto the likes of the Gragas, that'd be very much a win from the perspective of KT.
Poppy, okay, so all the power picks being taken down by each team.
Will KT ban the Triumvirate? Will they ban the Graves to really remove any carry potential from the jungle?
Might not be a bad idea. I mean, Peanut could just take Elise then.
Sure. He's looked great on Elise. Was 10-0. Is 10-0 on Elise. And scores shown a lot on it as well. There's a lot of power picks in general available. The top lane pool, Gangplank's available.
Okay. You know, interestingly enough, we talked about the priority that Maokai had, but he fell all the way through picks and bans last game.
I did, as you mentioned. I mean, the cannon was the big curveball. It looked like we were going to see a Maokai to peel for the triple AD.
Sure.
But they just went for the damage side, which is the more fun side. The ROX Tigers.
More effective side, too.
Absolutely.
Like. So what's going to be, seems like a good idea to take that Kalista away from Prey, even though he could play the Jhin.
Kha'Zix's buffs have been stacking up, but certainly not going to see it in the first round of the draft.
Be a little bit early, but the hovers are beginning. Now, I was wondering when we were going to see Jarvan come back a little bit, because he did get some buffs a patch or 2 ago.
I mean, he's a little bit more...
I like Jarvan.
A little bit more durable in the jungle with the Golden Aegis W changes, but it's all about, honestly, mid lane Jarvan. I think we eventually will see someone like Sarsen pull it off, but lane Jarvan is the way forward, but no sign of it just yet.
Sivir Maokai picked up 2 very strong picks that KT did use in game 1 to get that win.
Will Peanut go with the jungle pool? Certainly on the lower end. The 2 strong skirmishers are out. Elise is the obvious choice, but I'd like to see some more Elise in.
I mean, Graves is still out there too, but probably Elise, I think, would be the most tempting, but you never know. Could be anything.
Will ROX Tigers change their identity? You know, things look great in game 2 with that squishy, high damage lineup. And speaking of damage, Gangplank, first couple is going to be locked in. Okay.
That's right, so Elise does get locked in for Peanut and Gangplank, slipping through the bans and the first couple rounds of the draft, and Kuro's going to grab that one. We'll see where it goes. I would imagine probably mid lane. What do you think?
Hard to say. I mean, remember, they are on the blue side, so they have to show their picks earlier, but at least it is a flex pick of some degree. Worth noting that in game 1 and 2, they had Kindred, a farming jungler. Now they have Elise, a jungler that is a strong ganking jungler, so you have more room to pick something like Gangplank that does want to scale up, that does have trickier lane matchups. What will the answering pick in the top lane be? I guess it is already the Maokai, which we heavily expect to be top lane. People have kind of been simmering about the idea of support Maokai with the buffs towards the magic resist per level and base magic resist, but I'd be surprised to see that.
Yeah. Well, Score could take that Graves. Seems like a logical choice going forward, and maybe you grab the Braum too, I suppose. So saving that mid lane pick for last. Yep, they will take Graves and Braum.
LeBlanc was banned away, I believe, in game 2. So real potential that we'll see ROX go for the LeBlanc mid. They need to go for a safe mid lane, as you mentioned. Kuro will be counterpicked by whatever Fly is going to look for. The Lissandra is definitely the obvious choice on the side of ROX. I bet a lot of Lissandra, and it does have a lot of good matchups.
That's true. We hadn't even talked about that the Lissandra is still available. Lulu did get a little bit of a nerf in 6.2, but she still seems pretty good.
Oh.
But the priority has gone down today, hasn't it?
I invite a world where Lulu is not pick ban in the mid lane.
That's how it used to be.
Okay, here's the rise that's been, again, Cloud Tempo was talking about it previous to the series. People are really liking flex pick Rise. They like him in both top and mid lane. He doesn't have the same playstyle because, of course, Rise was all about those chain routes and just meaning he couldn't run away. It was great in the top lane and the long lane. Now it's about the burst. The Q specifically got a lot of buffs in terms of damage. It's a shorter trade but it's a very explosive one, and the ult cooldown is shorter, so you can get some really good all-in burst trades. So I expect it to be, I mean, it's just going to be one to monitor. EasyHoon's been playing it for Vici Gaming over in China, but it's our first Rise since the real rework earlier in the season.
Yeah. You know, we did see that fizz last week from Faker, but what's it going to be for Fly this time around? He still has a LeBlanc to choose from too.
I'd love to see the Twisted Fate. I don't know if this is necessarily the match, but he's been simmering and thinking about picking it. Malzahar is one of his solo queue specials, so it's probably not going to be that. Or is it?
Oh, I would love to see the Malzahar.
Oh, baby!
Are we actually going to see it? No way, Malzahar locked in.
So,
okay.
Fly has been playing a lot of Malzahar in solo queue for months now, and I thought, okay, maybe this is a champion that he enjoys. But we finally see the Malzahar lock-in. Interesting. Malzahar applies a lot of lane pressure, forces an early Quicksilver Sash, so the itemization, just like Skarner from the jungle, Malzahar will force that early Quicksilver Sash, and we've got a lot of heavy carry builds. Rise, Gangplank, both function on very heavy builds in terms of gold. You have to spend a lot. You know, Gangplank wants to avoid defensive itemization wherever possible. And okay, he has the oranges, but delaying their itemization in any way is very desirable from the Malzahar.
Looks like it may be a mid lane Rise, though. Yeah, looks like Kuro will take that. Yeah, that Nether Grasp obviously a concern.
This is a tricky matchup for Rise because
it is.
Rise is going to keep pushing in the lane. Sorry, Rise is going to be pushed in consistently by Malzahar's E. The kill pressure is going to be significant. Where's he going to find the time to build the Quicksilver Sash? Interesting draft from KT.
Yeah. And not something that I think the ROX Tigers really expected to play against today.
And he recognizes that he's got a good lane matchup, though, because he changed at the last second to Ignite mid over the teleport. So kill pressure onto Rise will be massive.
All right, cool stuff. It's our first Malzahar in a very, very long time here in Champions.
I believe the last one was Many Reason 4 years ago.
I was going to say, I think it was like a support Malzahar.
That's true.
Way back when, actually. We saw that, but it wasn't the most serious game per se at the time. Well, 1-1 so far. Who's going to take it? ROX Tigers versus KT Rolster. Let's get in the game and find out.
Everybody wants to rule the world. There's a room where the light won't find you. Holding hands.
All right, welcome to Summoner's Rift. For an exciting series here to start the day and to start the week as well. ROX Tigers versus KT Rolster, and KT trying something very different for their final game.
And let's try and audit what this Malzahar pick means for the texture of the game, because we've just seen two very one-sided early games, both eventually translate into a win, obviously more decisively by KT in game one. Look at the lanes we have here. Maokai, definitely going to have lane pressure on Gangplank early, ability to push with the saplings. Sivir, enough said, going to be able to push in waves as well. What does Malzahar do? What has he famously always been criticized for almost is that he auto-pushes the wave with both his passive and just his suite of abilities. Lots of AoE in that kit. KT can apply pressure in all three lanes, and Score can either counter jungle or happily farm on the Graves. And if 3 lanes fall behind, we already saw a preview of what that looks like. It looks like game 1.
Yeah, I feel like Peanut's going to really need to be on top of the ganks for this one, because there's a good chance they're just going to get pushed in and kind of overwhelmed.
Well, there's no answer for the pushing in. The kits of these champions line up and outpush in all 3 lanes. So, as you mentioned, it's a ganking jungle. It's not the Kindred this time, but
yeah,
he's going to have to make the mismatch in terms of jungle pressure matter this game.
Right. And for the first time tonight, we do see standard lanes as well.
Big win for KT. They're going to have pressure in all 3 of them. They wanted standard lanes, and they got them.
Yep. We'll see what Krillin and Prey can do.
We get to watch Malzahar. How fun.
Yeah, just really, really different.
How's your play-by-play Malzahar? You got all the ability names down?
Yeah, sure. Malefic Visions, all that good stuff. Out from Score going in on a Peanut. Score getting a bit low though. Peanut looking for his first kill. Flash from Score, flash from Peanut, and there he is, the Battle Ward. This time though, the kill came to him.
That was a significant misplay from Score on one of his trademark 80 carry junglers. He missed the end of the line. In general, he was the one who had the face check advantage. You expect him to hit his skill shots. You expect him to have the aggressive invading advantage, but caught with his pants down.
Yeah.
Actually, surprisingly, boys, skill shot accuracy is usually super on point, but significant misplayer now. No buffs, so Skull should be able to pick him up because of the standard lanes, so no other invasion potential. You can see on the minimap actually calling for jungle pressure, or at least lane pressure from the Malzahar, because he does not want to fall behind and lose any buffs, and that's why Gorilla's pushed up and put down vision around his blue.
Yep, a little bit of forward vision. Not something we saw a ton of.
Super against type for Score. He's usually so solid, so dependable, but man, really screwed up there.
Yeah, and I mean, giving Peanut first blood like that is just pretty much the last thing in the world you ever want to do for the ROX Tigers.
And that's the crazy thing. Peanut earns first blood so often with his aggressive plays. That's the highest first blood rate in the league at 65%.
Yeah.
And then to be handed one through poor mechanics, I don't know if that's a leash you really want to give Peanut, because, man, this guy goes off the chain plenty of the time.
Yes, he does. You know, off the chain is like meant to be a good thing, but in League of Legends, you don't generally want people off the chain. You want them on the chain.
I mean,
So
depends on the perspective.
For League, it's more like, that was so on the chain.
Funny.
Fresh, that was on the chain, man.
You think of the chains, right? Most people, you know, the one team wants the chain to hit, and the other team wants to get off the chain. So
Sure.
I think it's a matter of perspective, though.
I suppose. I'm a chain is attached kind of guy, not a chain is unattached kind of guy.
I don't know what that means.
It's like a glass half full thing, but you're a
Ah.
support player making all the sick plays, dude, obviously.
That's fair. You want to see those chains hit.
Yep. That's right.
Despite the invasion for vision, Graves does pick up his blue buff. It's going to be a max of the E. I believe that's the Malefic Visions.
Yeah, that's right.
So that means he's going to keep auto-pushing. I see arguments for, honestly, Q or E as a first max from Malzahar. With the Q, you do have that really long-range, long-duration silence. I believe it's almost 3 seconds, 2.6 second AoE silence, and good poke coming through from it. But it is just going to be about wave pushing from the Malzahar.
Probably. A little bit down in CS already, though. Oh.
Nope, no free backs.
No. No recall there.
Usually surprisingly tough to CS with Malzahar. He was kind of pigeonholed early in life as, well, you just put down the E auto attack and you get most of them, but in a world where people get perfect CS, you can miss them just because of the nature of the Malefic Visions bouncing around.
Yep. That is true. Praying Gorilla continuing to keep this pushed up.
Surprising with the potential to push in all lanes. It's actually ROX Tigers who found the push advantage. Making me look silly.
Well, they need it too. We talked about why. I love that Gangplank skin. Popeye Gangplank.
Sailor at heart.
Basically. Oh, all right. Someday gets caught a little bit. They're going to go in onto this one. He still does not have his flash. I think early on, Smeb may have won a 1v1 up and top and forced that flash from Someday. We didn't get to see that, but that flash has been down for about that long, so I'm guessing that's what happened.
I mean, Someday's one of those few top laners that will look for that fight at level 2, level 3, will look to the aggressive line. I mean, he built Rod of Ages on Maokai in game 1 and may look for it again here in game 3. So going with type there. That's the sort of player he is. He likes to make those aggressive moves, but the downside is opens himself up to jungle aggression with using the flash so early.
A little bit, yeah. And Smeb's already got a nice big lead up in top lane. And
oh boy, here we go.
Score. Gotta be careful there. Oh, Score gets the big raptor too. Nice. Smites it away.
Nice claim. Seeing the early push. It's going to be Rod of Ages from Fly. Rylai's is really powerful with the kit of Malzahar. Gives him the CC that he's really doesn't have in his kit outside of his ultimate and the silence from his Q, but sometimes you can't fit it in the build. You know, be forced to go into Zhonya's and Luton's Echo. Those are the items I remember from Fly's builds in solo queue. So Rod of Ages, maybe a similar build from Kuro, although the tier start, of course.
I mean, we've seen players hovering over Malzahar for a while now.
But Fly the first one to pick him up. See how it works out.
Malzahar is honestly the one champion who, when he had the big change, which was making it so that he could move while he cast a W, because for a long time he was like Gangplank and couldn't move when he used his abilities.
Right.
I was like, okay, Malzahar's going to be a big thing. And then he wasn't for 2 years, so I'm actually stoked to see it, just like the Jungle Rumble earlier this season.
That kind of came and went, though.
Yeah, I think Malzahar's going to come and go too, but I can enjoy the moment while it's there.
The Malzahar moment.
Brought to you by Riot Games.
That's right. Someday finds Peanut. Peanut immediately with that cocoon, and he's going to back away. Yeah, knew something was up there. Smeb getting a lot of farming time. Meanwhile, the all-in from Gorilla and Prey. Machani and Arrow turn it right around, though. Nice damage blocking from Machani. Culling used. Arrow pops that spell shield. Machani still taking a lot of damage. He's sub-level 6.
Worry from the side of KT is that Smeb has been free farming, 15 CS advantage. Most of that probably because of the pressure advantage of blowing Sunday's flash early, but Maokai, if he's going to excel at any part of this laning phase, in terms of pushing, in terms of pressure, it's going to be early. And now that we're getting later and later, you worry that this CS lead might balloon for Smeb in top lane.
Yeah, Peanut coming in from behind, but Score is hiding in that river brush right now. Pings go down. They know Peanut's there, and they're going to go right in onto Kuro. Kuro in a lot of trouble. Fly uses that Nether Grasp ultimate. Fly gets low, but they still get the kill. That's one for Malzahar, and now Score on the run. Someday comes down with the TP. It's going to distract Peanut and Smeb long enough for Score to get away. And there you go, just like that. Ultimate used by Malzahar, and that locks down Kuro long enough for KT to get the kill.
Not even a perfect layering of skills, but remember, it's Graves in the jungle, plenty of burst, so they find the kill from full health onto the rise, and they'll be looking to rinse and repeat every few minutes. I believe he does get the W radius. AoE damage coming through from the game bank ult means that both get low, but they do pick up the kill on rise. And honestly, they took Ignite. It's Malzahar Graves. It's what they're looking for. Successful gank from KT.
That was really close, and a nice job by Someday too to take the pressure off of Score so he could escape that one. Not bad.
So there's a gold lead, mostly from CS and top lane for ROX Tigers, and scaling onwards. When we do finally see those QSSs stacked, the ultimate from the Malzahar becomes almost irrelevant. Still has a very strong suite of abilities because he has percentage health scaling, AP damage with his W, where it scales on enemy health, but you know what I mean. He does a lot of AoE damage, but a lot of it's dodgeable. He doesn't have a lot of CC. You know, his ult is his only true CC, so it's difficult to team fight in the late game with Malzahar.
Yeah, he is a little bit vulnerable with the range he has to get at to really do anything. Get blown up during that ult pretty quickly.
Rise will eventually get very tanky, maybe even a Banshee Veil to harken to old Rise build. It's going to come through.
Well, I think against Malzahar and Maokai on the other side, really everybody, even Braum, it's probably not a bad idea.
And the itemization is going to be super interesting because how greedy can ROX Tigers be against this Malzahar? Can they just say, okay, because of the short range, we'll play around it in team fights, but we won't invest in the early QSS, in the early magic resist? Because that's sort of risks that ROX Tigers have taken reliably throughout the course of this season, but also the sort of risks that can be heavily punished by the massive pick power that both Maokai, Malzahar, and Braum bring this comp to KT.
Yeah, and right now, ROX Tigers taking some damage on their mid lane turret. They haven't been able to defend it quite as much lately. Score caught under the turret. Well, Kuro, the one who was caught rather, though. I don't know where my grammar went. I just haven't seen Malzahar for so long, man. This thing is like throwing me off.
Well, I mean,
Fly,
Kuro,
though, with a great Nether Grasp. That was like max range. I don't think Kuro thought he was within range of that.
again, that's just probably Kuro not used to playing against Malzahar. I believe Fly's the only guy in top level Korean solo queue that's picking Malzahar, disrespects the Nether Grasp, and it's Graves Malzahar. The burst is always going to be there. You're not health at 80% HP or any level of health when those two can just free auto, free use your skills against you.
Yeah. Wow.
That's an early Rod of Ages too, 11-minute Rod of Ages timing for Fly.
Yep.
We talked about Champion Pool, and he had to dig deep, but he's got something for sure.
All right, let's watch this one again. Yeah, Kuro just straight up caught.
So the thing about Nether Grasp is instant cast, but it's usually you're going to see the W, the puddle, put out first, and that's like, okay, I need to flash out right now. Instead, just led with the ult, trusted that Score would have enough damage. He did, and they confirmed the kill.
Yeah. Well, Kuro kind of baited himself a little bit there by landing the Rune Prison onto Score while he was under turret, right? So he saw that damage coming in, thought he could step up and do more, but
what's Kuro to do? He doesn't have the wave clear outside of his ultimate to answer the pushing power of Graves Malzahar. He just thought, okay, I'll root, get some turret damage, and get out. He just never had a chance to react with the suppression effect of the ultimate, and result is padding the stats for Fly.
Yep. And he went Ghost, too. He didn't go for Cleanse or anything like that, so...
Our big issue, Cleanse does not cleanse suppression, so it doesn't affect the ultimate at all. So.
That's right. It's been a while.
Understandably, though, don't worry.
Yeah. Like you said, I think it's our first Malzahar in like at least 3 years.
There might have been a support one in the last 2 years, but mid lane Malzahar, I believe, was many a reason for, I believe, Xenix at some point, like literally years ago.
Something like that, yeah. It's been a long time. Not going to be a very long time before this mid lane turret goes down, though. It's extremely low, so only another wave or two, maybe.
With the
before
pressure
KT gets
advantage, KT should be looking to Dragon. Excellent neutral control as well does Malzahar have. Will put down the puddle. That's the max health damage, so while it's not Cassiopeia in terms of mid laners taking ejected, it certainly helps.
Yeah. By turret. And KT jumping out to a nice little lead early on in this game.
See two unique mid lane picks, but definitely advantage Malzahar in the laning phase and in a lot of lanes. Remember, ROX late game, it's still Gangplank Ryze. Whatever you think of the Ryze rework, he is still very, very powerful in the late game. Gangplank, enough said. ROX have a lot of late game power, but KT needed to really get a snowball to get advantage. They have the stronger early game power spikes, and so far, so good.
Yeah, Smeb does have a nice CS lead up in top lane, and that is maybe something that KT will need to be worried about later on. Oh, Flash, never mind, they're going to go in onto him. Peanut with the cocoon to keep score back.
Fly has
now
Flash.
Just running, that's right, Fly flashes, gets that nether grasp onto Peanut. He is doing so well with this Malzahar, man. That's like 3 ultimates, 3 kills for KT.
That's the reality of suppression. It's why back in the day, Malzahar Warwick was the ultimate combo, though. Suppressed for days, what you gonna do? But
Not
knowing
much
his range is the big thing. Nether Grasp has deceptively short range, but trusting in the flash ult, no way for Elise to get out. You can't repel that, Elise. And another kill for KT.
Yeah.
Fascinating, fascinating game.
Yeah. I definitely did not expect to see that today.
6.6. One series, we've seen Kennen, we've seen Ryze, we've seen Malzahar. Great world we live in suddenly.
Yeah. And if they can really make this pick work in the future, this is going to be big for KT to kind of have this pocket Malzahar available.
And the best thing about it is that you don't necessarily need to play it again, but when you get to playoffs...
Oh, Smeb's in trouble. Graves coming from the side here. Someday low, but Score coming in. Smeb just kind of caught right now. Score flashing over the wall. Smeb trying to get away. Can't. Another kill for Score. KT starting to pull ahead a little bit.
Right. 4-1 up in kills. Even though up the top lane, it hasn't been Maokai pushing in. Score's found the kill involvements and the farm to be relevant. Teleport.
That's right. Someday coming in with the TP. They've got Prey locked up already. Exhaust was used. Sachani low, but here comes Someday to try to clean this one up. Prey on the wrong side of this fight, and Arrow's going to get an easy kill onto him. I guess Achani steals at the end, which I totally approve of. Fly came down, but he didn't get there in time to really help out.
But the big thing is Fly is getting to these other lanes first against a Ghost opponent. Remember, Ryze doesn't have teleport, has Ghost, but it's not the Dade Ghost where we used to see him play Ryze and Ziggs and Ghost between lanes. He's been holding onto that Summoner, and it's literally contributed nothing in the first 16 minutes.
Yeah, well, he's kind of becoming a Ghost opponent in a different way.
It's very true.
Ryze not doing a whole lot just yet.
The worst possible type of video game Ghost, because not even the Ghost from Mario Kart, which indicates the best possible app. This is just an absent Ghost.
That's right. Kind of a Ghost that just doesn't really tell anyone it's around. Kind of defeats the purpose.
Not even spooky.
Just kind of boring. Smeb is still way ahead CS-wise up in this top lane, but none of that's really mattering at the moment.
Just like Kindred picked up a Satyr Devourer and the game ended, this game might be played around the Gangplank. It's like if Nasus gets a big lane lead and stacking up, and you're like, great, great. If you lose the rest of the map, there's only so much one good scaling champion can do if we don't get to the late game, and those early advantages for KT fade in terms of relevance in, say, 40 minutes.
True. KT doing a good job of clearing out a lot of these wards that ROX Tigers have had to put down defensively.
But just to finish a previous thought, the fun thing about the Malzahar pick is you don't even need to play it again this season. Once you get to the playoffs, the threat of it, you know, throwing it out in Game 3, Game 4 of a big series, that's the fun thing, where teams might think, okay, we played around everything KT has in their repertoire, which admittedly isn't much. This is a team that was playing Fiora outscale, was playing Lux and Lissandra, nothing else in the mid lane. Do you just proactively ban the Malzahar just because you don't have to practice playing around it? These are the sort of mind games you can get into in these sort of cases late in a best of 5.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out the next time KT plays, if that Malzahar is going to be seen as ban-worthy.
Well, literally KT have had limited in innovation this season. The Rammus top, that was cool. The Jungle Rumble, that was cool. But apart from that, it's basically been the same comp every time. It's been Zillion Poppy, and it's been Fiora Outscale. So them showing something different, especially a comp that's strong in the early game, is a surprise to see and is a credit to KT Rolster.
Yeah.
Rod of Ages again from Someday.
Yep, just going for a little bit more damage. Seems to have been working out for him pretty well. And Score's been doing, aside from that early death, aside from that early death against Peanut, Score's been doing very, very well this game.
Aside from almost throwing the game at level 1, he's been done very well.
Well, it's amazing that he's recovered so much, and a lot of that is just because he's been able to help Fly pick up these kills.
He's got great lanes to be Jungle Graves in. He's got Maokai with point-and-click CC. He's got Malzahar with point-and-click CC. He's got Braum Sivir in the bot lane. This is a jungler's paradise, and even though it looked like a jungler's hell for just a couple of moments, he's made the most of it after the misstep.
Yep. Okay, KT just all over inside ROX Tigers jungle right now.
He has a 2-level lead over the enemy jungle, over Peanut of all people.
Yeah, usually we see Peanut the one with the big level lead.
Poor Peanut. It's not been this serious.
Definitely has not been. The last game was okay, but game 1 and 3 have been pretty rough so far. Well, Someday doing a little bit of damage to Smeb. Smeb very, very low. Someday pops that ult. I guess not really super low, but still low enough. I'm actually kind of surprised Smeb stuck around that long.
The base values are high. The 8B scaling is good. You don't usually think of the damage from the AoE as an ult, I guess.
What just happened there?
So he spotted out that 2 people were coming, but didn't put together they were just taking the blue buff and weren't looking to gank. So defensive ult is wasted. Long cooldown ultimate as well.
Yeah. No, but what you're saying makes sense. He may have thought they were trying to flank him. Maybe they were. KT trying to find Kuro here. Over the wall comes Someday. Twisted advance onto that rise. Kuro running for his life, but he's got 4 members of KT chasing. Smeb teleports down, sets up some barrels to kind of split up KT a little bit. Actually does end up saving Kuro in the end.
Yeah, the Ghost also was meant that even though the W and Q hit from Maokai, it wasn't enough CC, was able to Ghost away. So that time it's effective, but only in a purely defensive sense, as both teams just kind of pick up without any losses.
Yeah, Fly wasn't able to get close enough that time, I suppose.
Let's go back to farming. Kuro has definitely been under attack significantly this game, but CS has been very good. Actually still ahead in CS despite the 2 deaths over the Malzahar.
Meanwhile, Arrow and Prey have been farming as much as they could. Prey did end up dying that one time. Hello, Peanut.
Gorilla there as well. Score afraid of going forward, understandably. Yeah, 4 members set up by ROX Tigers.
They really want to take out this top lane turret. They're not going to get it this time. Yeah, Kuro TPing right now. Or recalling, rather.
All of KT's pink wards are basically invested in the enemy jungle. They have a lot of control over the red side jungle of ROX, which is very relevant in a minute and a half when Dragon come up, but for now, they have to play defensively around the top side.
Oh, yeah.
As usual.
But again, I mean, just look at the vision from these 2 teams. KT with a lot in the jungle of the ROX Tigers, and ROX Tigers
here we go.
Really not much.
I mentioned that KT have good Baron damage. Malzahar brings good control around Baron, and we saw some pings onto it. Always the outside chance that KT will try a pre-25-minute Baron.
It's possible. Like, okay, Someday find Smeb walking right into that tri-brush. Smeb on the run already. A lot of KT members coming into the jungle to see if they can help out. Smeb trying to get away. He's got his flash. Here comes Gorilla. Score chasing though. Arrow, the rest of KT is right there. Gorilla too low, gets hit with that nether grasp. And another kill for Fly comes in. He suppressed the cow.
Lucian's in the bot lane, it's starting to walk towards mid, so KT once again think about the Baron, but maybe it's too obvious from their perspective. They don't have the Nethergrass, so Malzahar can't just puddle the Baron, then stand in a brush and ult the first person who walks up. So they back away, no objective advantage from that pick.
No, but getting the map presence and just the intimidation factor, I think, is valuable against ROX Tigers. They're just not used to losing like this.
Look how much Kuro has invested in stats that aren't combat rate. Doesn't have combat summons, has double escape summoners, and now has bought QSS second. So it's going to be later that we're going to see the Seraph's Embrace. The item's going to come up later, so it means ROX Tigers aren't ready to fight. KT pick up their second dragon of the game.
Wow. And that's just going to help them push down the turrets even faster now. And ROX Tigers, I feel like they're kind of running out of options. Do you think maybe the super late game they can come back?
I mean, the super late game, Ryzen Gangplank is always in the history of League of Legends been fearsome in the late game, so they're in a good spot to take it, and the lead's not massive. It's a few thousand gold. It's going to move up to, what, 4,000 gold? No, just over 3,000 gold, so in touching distance still, and they do have Smeb, who is ahead of the clock. 70 CS the advantage.
Oh, they're going to dive someday a little bit. No, okay. Well, maybe they're going to try it. They threw the cocoon in.
Well, they need to do something.
Yep, that's right. Kuro dodges that Braum ultimate. Johnny missing that one more than Kuro dodging, really. But they do put a little bit more pressure on the bot lane turret until they have to back away.
And looks like KT keep trading up, getting damage onto an inner turret, while ROX are just really struggling to pick up this outer turret. You're not stuck around, but KT had to back away, so looking for a free objective, but no such luck for ROX Tigers.
What a Christmas present it would be for KT to win this match. Someday, playing the Christmas Maokai skin, man, it's just hopeful thinking.
At least
obviously it's nowhere close to Christmas, but you know what? He can give himself a present anyway.
I mean, Maokai is going to have a little Christmas of his own with Maokai being released in the next patch, so some new skins coming out to have some fun, maybe take away from the festivities, but at least it's Battle Maokai, right? We've got the Rod of Ages, so that's something to be excited about.
Yeah.
It's Baron Force, KT have been looking for consistently. Worth noting that to answer the CS advantage that Gangplank has, Score also has a pretty significant CS advantage over Peanut.
Yes, he does. It's actually huge. All right, KT coming down. They want to take this blue buff. Peanut able to smite it.
Not ideal.
Nope, they didn't give it to Kuro. Meanwhile, a duel down in bot lane. Smeb and Someday going at it, but Smeb just cannot keep up with this Maokai. KT going for the Baron at the same time, though. Zoning. ROX Tigers, now they know what's happening. Now they're coming back in, but are they going to get there close enough, or soon enough, rather, disengage from KT? They're going to pop that Silver Ultimate to back away. It was a nice attempt by KT Rolster, though.
Yeah, it was nice. They were winning the pressure advantage in bottom. Smeb doesn't have any magic resistance. The base values and the extra AP from the Rod of Ages are enough to really win the trade. So they tried to get a Baron as well, but it ended up being just too much. ROX had the idea early, answered the Baron, so end result is a stalemate in a game where KT have the early game comp. So if ROX can force 2, 3 more stalemates like that, buy them another 15 minutes, that's when ROX comp really comes online.
It's possible. They have cut a little bit of the gold lead. It's only about 2.5 right now.
See if Prey goes for the QSS third. It's always fun to track things like QSS when it's against, say, Malzahar or Skarner, where literally you have to build QSS. You learn about a lot about what the play style of a team will be based on when they finish those items. If they finish double QSS early, it means they want to lane. It means that they realize they won't have team fight items, but they just want to be able to lane without fear of being ganked or dive. If they don't build them, then they're trying to fight early and just really take it to the enemy that has the strong CC before the QSS is necessitated.
Right.
This game was early QSS from Kuro to try and get some extra farm. Waiting on the one from Smeb, from Prey, sorry.
From somebody.
Somebody. It's
somebody.
Prey.
We just got back to Korea
somebody,
yesterday,
someday.
man, so
Jin-Air. Anyway.
It's about this time of night our brains are going to start to turn off a little bit.
No, we still have another series, though.
I know.
A good one, too.
It's going to be great. Always fun. Right after you travel internationally. Prey pops a culling, pushes KT back a little bit.
One of those games where KT has excellent Baron threat. They realize they don't have the longest range, so Baron is their playground.
Oh, Silver Ult used. They're going to go in on this. Gorilla's very low already. KT, Someday using that teleport. Gangplank ult, those zones people out. Smeb just dropping the ult.
Smeb cancels TP.
He did actually, yeah. And KT's going to go right for Baron. Smeb walking all the way back across the map now.
This is risky from KT.
It is. Real low though, coming in. Prey firing from the outside. Somebody's gonna jump over the wall on top of him. He's on his own. Fly got the kill onto Gorilla already. Baron getting low. Members of both teams getting low too. Baron eventually taken by KT. They lost someday, nearly lost to Chani. That's about it. They win the fight, they take the Baron. KT just in firm control of this game now.
That was really assertive take from KT. Remember, they're all getting that magic resist shred against a mid-game Rise who can just throw out the E and burst multiple members, but smartly peeling away. The AoE damage, the nether grabs onto Peanut. Peanut could do nothing. Remember, you cannot smite while you are suppressed. You can while you're stunned, but not while you're suppressed. So because he was suppressed, no way to contest. And even though the jungler was in melee range of the Baron, there was no threat of the steal because Malzahar kept the ult to deny it.
If you are suppressed, you can't contest. That's how it is.
Busting the rhymes, though. I love it.
I don't know if I'm busting the rhymes, really. I'm more like delivering them gently. I don't know.
You're taking the William Shatner approach to rapping?
Yeah, just really, what? Huh? He raps?
He had a
Whole
rap
new
album
world.
that was hilarious.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Score a bit low. That's not so hilarious for him, but Peanut not able to find him. Goes back to the red buff. They're going to give that one over to Prey. Did he really have a rap album?
He does a lot of speaking songs where he doesn't actually sing, he speaks them.
So, no, in other words.
Look, it was a rap song in an album.
Okay.
Give me something here.
I don't know if I believe you.
Pressure for KT is still strong. They still have the Baron, of course. ROX very much trying to wait out that timer.
Curl coming down.
Excited to see what late game Rise brings after the changes. Again, first time we've seen Rise since the change, since the rework.
Well, how late do you think this game needs to go before Rise? Oh, well, never mind. He may be turning online right now. Chani blocking some of that damage, but Score taking a huge amount before he does.
All about target selection. I think against the squishies, definitely going to be doing plenty of damage. Whoa, Arrow, the barrel's hurt him a lot.
At GPL used, Arrow forced to flash over the wall to get out of it.
Arrow ate the barrel link, took 60% of his health in one crit, has to back away.
And that's the end of that siege. So ROX Tigers successfully kind of holding off that Baron buff for the moment.
And that's the damage that comes here before Infinity Edge is completed for the gangplank. Coming soon, though, is third dragon comes through for KT.
Yep, that's right. No dragon so far for ROX Tigers this game, so yet another category they're behind in right now.
But that's to be expected again. It's gangplank Rise, their solo lane, so lane pressure, especially with Peanut not being able to find much, was very unlikely.
Uh-oh.
Smeb's going for a walk.
Smeb might
dead.
be going for a trip to the afterlife, throwing down one barrel, taking a little bit of damage here. Fly has his ultimate. They're going to try to get in. Smeb flashes. Wow, gets out. I'm surprised.
So Someday took literally the worst path.
I was going to say, yeah.
He thought that Gangplank was going to run up towards the base of KT and then just got juked and couldn't get fast enough, didn't have flash, so that should have been a kill and wasn't.
Yeah, I was really expecting the Twisted Advance to come in.
And ROX get a free turret while KT kind of meander trying to pull off a gank.
Yeah. Still have a lot of pressure on the bot lane, though, even though they don't have that Baron buff anymore.
5,000 gold lead, or they're up as well.
Yep, looks like they'll get the bottom tier 2.
There's teleport, it's about 10 seconds away, and obviously Lucian doesn't have teleport, so ROX have to be careful.
Oh, Prey is just kind of on a mission by himself.
Interesting to see Prey go for the Lucian. You know, that wouldn't have been a unique pick for him in previous seasons, but very much been Ashe, Sivir, Kalista this season, rather than so much Lucian play.
Yeah. You know, sometimes an Ezreal too, I suppose.
Only Bang playing the Ezreal recently. Looks like everyone's kind of dropped away, despite there being no direct nerfs. I guess the ult nerf, you know, made there being just less poke from range, but Blue Ezreal, outside the ultimate, still very strong. No QSS still for Prey, so this is very much man-moding from Prey.
He's trying.
It's against Maokai Malzahar Braum, so QSS can't come early enough.
Yep.
Basically tells you that Prey is going to stay on the outskirts of the fight with this mid-ranged AD carry and Lucian, so it's going to be all about Fly, just trying to flash his way onto the Lucian wherever possible. And it is the Rylai's, so this is something that actually opens up Fly to be late game relevant, is that, you know, with the slow of both his Q and W, more people spending more time in the puddle, specifically taking percentage health damage, gives Malzahar the CC in late game fights that, again, he lacks because QSS negates his one true CC in his ultimate.
Yeah. KT, though, it seems like they're having a little bit of trouble sieging into the actual base itself.
Have Siva, so Siva Graves have great turret damage, but not the best range. You know, they're worried about ROX Tigers looking for a Rise binding and getting a pick on someone, so Baron is their best objective. They've got one, the next one spawns in a minute 45. They've got 3 dragons as well, so it's very much the neutral game from KT.
Yeah, kind of the slow, methodical closeout that we'll see if they can pull off. For now, though, they've got all the pressure. No wards at all from ROX Tigers out on the map right now.
Peanut's
Out
taking
on the other side of the jungle anyway.
this Peanut build. He's gone super aggressive, haunting guys after Rylai's and Runic Echo. That's
Seems kind of brave.
when they have no frontline out of an Alistar. Seems reckless, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe he feels like he needs to carry. Seems that way.
But if you can't trust late game Rise, late game Gangplank, and no QSS Lucian,
That's the thing, isn't it?
like, that's not building to what your team is doing. Your role in these fights is not to delete people. When you have 3 true damage dealers on your team.
Peanut's role is always to delete people.
Well,
Not saying he's going to be good at it, but it is what he does.
that's why people say meta changes. How does Peanut cope in a more tank-centric jungle meta? And that hasn't come just yet, but it's games like this that give you a preview of maybe his inflexibility to things like alternating those build paths in particular.
We'll see what happens. Peanut's one of those junglers, too, where you see something like this and you're like, I don't know, and then he gets a triple kill and you're like, all right, he's pretty good.
Well, I mean, you think about what this build does. It means in a team fight, doesn't do as much, but if someone gets a face check, Kuhn comes through, his combo is going to do great damage, great single target damage from Rise and from Prey, and they can delete someone. And maybe that's all they need to do. It just feels like it's going to be 5v5s with Baron and Dragon so heavily prioritized by KT, and the 5v5 is where this build really falls apart.
Definitely a bit of a standstill for the moment anyway. KT finally finding an option to take out this top tier 2, and wow, the ROX Tigers is not even around.
Caught in rotation. Nice little move from KT. They've had the pressure advantage, so they can put the pinks down. They can make the nice plays assertively through the enemy jungle. ROX have to take the longer route, and you end up losing objectives that way most of the time.
Gotta be wondering where KT is right now, though. ROX
Well,
Tigers,
they know.
there we go. All right, getting the blue buff. They should know that they're near the Baron.
It was all stood in vision, so they have very good idea of where they're at.
Probably.
4th dragon spawning in 30 seconds. Will ROX be able to contest? That's the question.
Oh, they're gonna have to. Or they will lose everything.
I don't know if
Well,
4th dragon's
except it's-
everything, but getting there.
It's everything.
It's the road to everything.
Well, Peanut catches Chani, but he's a little bit too tanky for any sort of follow-up.
ROX playing smartly. When you know the enemy team wants a safe objective, you make them face check into the Baron, which KT doesn't want to do. Wow, Smep takes a lot of poke damage from Arrow.
Yeah, I mean, just nobody on ROX Tigers is tanky right now.
Not at all. Not in the slightest.
Really is when he's got his ult up, but that's about it, I suppose.
This ROX comp echoes what they played in the second game against Kongdu Monster, a game they almost lost playing an all damage comp.
Score just soloing the dragon while KT just keeps an eye on the ROX Tigers.
Very, very sustained.
And doesn't really look a lot more easier. Doesn't even look like he can get more easier than this for KT.
ROX definitely know, and obviously confirmed now that Graves have been off the map, and so is the Dragon, but no way for ROX to outplay that. And that's smart from both teams. ROX decide, okay, we can't fight for this 4th Dragon. It's not worth making our last stand over a 4th Dragon. We'll just move towards Baron and force them to react to us. And KT sending 4 men, 4 strong players towards that Baron means that it's enough to stop ROX starting it, and Graves gets a solo Dragon. So smart use of resources from both teams, but KT, because they have the advantage in this part of the game, get what they look for.
Pretty much. And the excitement continues.
Honestly, this game is building. It's building well. It's just, at this present point, ROX realizes they have to choose one fight. They have to choose one engagement. If they lose it, turret damage is very strong from KT. The items are starting to pile up. They still don't have QSS on Prey though, which is just ludicrous to me, to be honest. I don't know what the Vamp Scepter buys you that the QSS won't, because if you die instantly, not going to be doing much life stealing.
Very true. Malefic Visions just pushing the wave for Fly. Wow, that was a barrel.
Late game gangplank observed.
Yep.
No Void Staff for Fly. He's gone for that utility build with cooldown reduction and the Rylai's. Deathcap over Void Staff is interesting, but end result is that magic resist stacking for now is very effective from a ROX Tigers perspective. And it feels like the game's going to really be played in about 4 minutes, though, when 5th Dragon spawns.
Yeah, not much going on until then. ROX Tigers have put a couple wards down by Baron, but that's about it. And KT, I mean, they really have no reason to try to push any harder than they are right now.
The issue, of course, is that the opportunity cost of setting up for a 5th Dragon is it's 5-6 minutes of time for Ryze and Gangplank to pile on items. So one of those catch-22 situations where if you lose a fight because you've opted into late game Gangplank and late game Ryze, you really only have yourself to blame.
Yeah, pretty much.
But again, Dragon and Baron is their safest objectives, so you can understand the thought process from KT. Pushing up waves.
Yep.
Not making waves though, Dar.
Nope, Nami's not really played anymore. I miss telling her to shut up. I never thought I would, but
That's an abusive relationship right there, Doa.
Not from my side. She's the one who keeps singing.
You're the one that keeps telling her to shut up. The poor defenseless.
She should.
But only sometimes, depending on what she's wearing.
Apparently, yeah. I don't know what it is about that outfit.
It's ripe for song.
I guess. Do you have a song outfit, Papa Smithy? Describe for me your song outfit.
My song outfit.
I bet it would be like a hat.
What
with
sort
like
of a hat, though?
Like a, oh, hold that thought. KT
Gorilla's taking a lot of free
found
damage.
an opportunity onto Gorilla here. Twisted Advance brings Someday in. Prey from the side, trying to get some damage done with that Lucian. Gorilla pops his ultimate, stays alive for now. GPL doing a little bit of work, but Someday is just this unstoppable front line. Kill comes in for score right away. Fly flashes with that ultimate, and now the ROX Tigers on the run. Yeah, Score cleaning up the fight, double kill for him. Kuro not really able to do too much, and just like that, just a little bit of mispositioning, I guess you could say, from Gorilla, and led to a big fight that KT took pretty easily.
Kuro's still walking, but no friends on that direction. To find as much space as possible. Might actually try to push up the top wave. He might think he's safe. He's going to back. Probably be fine, but
He is definitely not safe.
priorities, though, mean that he might get away, Doa, but it's going to be at the cost of Baron.
Yep, not much you could do.
And you just, when we see a replay of that last fight, or I guess it wasn't really a fight if you think about it, the big thing was that Gorilla and I believe it was Peanut were taking free damage from Graves walking backwards when they have no front line. Gorilla got chunked out, eventually just got focus fired. They have no tankiness outside of that. You know, watching the replay, so Smeb and Gorilla, if you're taking free damage with no front line, you're going to be turned on. And even through level 2 ultimate, Alistair dies, and ROX have to go in every direction. They can't play as a 5-man unit because they don't have the tankiness to deal with the comp that comes through from KT. Someday is unkillable, even though they've all built damage.
Yeah, Someday's just way too tanky right now.
Rod of
The ROX
Ages,
Tigers to deal with it.
Randuin's Frozen Heart, Spirit Visage. Interesting game.
Well, I mean, it just seems like the ROX Tigers had a plan, and it's not working so far.
Not really feeling the value of the late game Rise, I have to say. I was skeptical of the pick, but people have really been talking about it as being, once again, this threat, but maybe it's just being forced into the QSS that you've lost the mid-game burst that you have with the higher base value on the Overload Q.
Maybe. I mean, that early game from Fly on that Malzahar was just monstrous. I mean, I don't think ROX Tigers were expecting to have to deal with it. They couldn't deal with it. Gave KT a big lead, and they've never really lost it.
Never thought there'd be a series between KT and ROX in 2016 where Fly out-pressured Kuro significantly, but this has been the one.
Yeah, on Malzahar nonetheless. Culling pushes back the wave a little bit, but KT still with a lot of Baron pressure here.
5th Dragon spawns now.
Yep, and I don't think that ROX Tigers are going to be able to come anywhere close to stopping this.
Prey is walking towards the top side,
They're
so
just going to give it up.
man,
Okay then.
giving up a 5th Dragon is so painful, but they tried to contest around Baron and that didn't go so well, so
That's true, and if that didn't go well, I mean, you wonder what would ever go well for the ROX Tigers.
and now you have a massive Someday. I mean, turret dives looking very realistic with Someday if he's the one taking aggro.
Very true, so KT pressuring this mid lane inhibitor turret should go down easily, yep. Inhibitor in trouble too, and Johnny just throwing up the shield, soaking a lot of that damage. So KT doesn't need to worry about it. There it goes, just like that, mid inhibitor taken by KT. And the slow but inevitable push to victory seems to be continuing here, and ROX Tigers really could be facing their 2nd match loss of the season.
They're looking very likely, honestly. I don't really see any way back into this game. They have a lot of high damage dealers, but someone's going to have to get around Someday to deal damage this backline, and that's not looking tricky.
Yeah. Wow, using the gangplank ult just to stop the wave. Doesn't even stop all of it.
Nope. Baroned up minions, 5th Dragon spawned as well. You saw Malphite can just walk up to a turret, zones away multiple people, and with all the different buffs coming through from 5th Dragon, turrets die almost instantly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Minion wave pushing in top's going to take a while, but also will provide another headache for ROX Tigers.
Yep.
Is it time for the miracle barrel link? We already saw Arrow chunked out of a fight 10 minutes ago, but the 80 items are certainly there for Smeb.
It's possible. Throws one barrel in, doesn't work. Sivir ult popped. KT going in on this. They want to take this turret out. Curl from the side. Someday just is not taking any damage. And if you can't do anything to the Maokai, you are not going to be able to protect any of your objectives. And sure enough, KT takes their 2nd inhibitor.
They can just walk up to this massive minion wave that's grouped up in top lane and rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I think it's over. I don't think ROX Tigers can win this one.
It's looking very unlikely though. It's been super methodical. Teleport coming in from the Maokai as well. Full health, full mana now.
Yep. And Someday just walking in again, full health, not worried about it.
But what do you do when a super tank runs at you and you got 4 squishies and an Alistar? Like, this is all they can do, kite in different directions.
It sounded like a alternate Hulkamania thing. What are you going to do when the super tank runs at you?
Run away and cower in fear, clearly.
Oh. No, man. You got to be ready to stand up to the super tank.
Super tank Hulk Hogan. In the
Just
news
like-
recently, obviously. Winning millions and millions.
Right. Pretty different situation than Tank Maokai. Slightly different.
Pretty much the same thing, though.
You and I have very different ideas about certain things I've just discovered.
You and I probably have different ideas about Hulkamania as well.
It's true. I just remembered for that great album back in the 90s.
Ah, yes, great.
It was great.
That sounds like a caster term. Is that, like, interesting?
No, I mean it.
Unironically great?
Unironically great.
Wow.
One of the best albums ever made. Hulk Hogan's wrestling boot band.
Well, I'm going to take Hulk Hogan to lay the smackdown on ROX Tigers. Seems like KT will do that. 5th Dragon, Baron buff or no, it's so far ahead and their comp matched up so well to what ROX Tigers are left with in this game.
Yeah, KT should be able to push through this top lane pretty easily.
Well, that's way clear, though.
Yeah, they're still so tanky, though. I mean, you just kind of wait till the next Baron. You push a little bit. You're like, well, we'll see if we can get in, maybe. And if we can't, just take Baron. Finish the game.
I just feel like Bray still not opting into QSS means that he can never get in range to do any damage. He already has enough worries with the Maokai running at him, and then if he tries to take a different flank, Malzahar will just kill him in the front line.
Yeah, that's true. Here we go. Sivir ult used again just to give people a little bit more mobility. Someday locked up. Prey tries to go in for a bit more damage. Braum ult used defensively. KT has to back away. At the end of the day, Someday does lose about half his health, so taking a little bit more damage than we might have expected.
It just means so little when you're kiting back towards another 5th Dragon or another Baron that honestly ROX Tigers can't do anything about.
Yeah. That's right. All right. Might as well keep the pressure on. Someday's got a lot of his health back. Peanut steps up for a bit of damage, a bit of CC.
Be happy to know that Peanut built more damage and got an Abyssal Scepter.
I'm so happy. I don't know, it doesn't seem like the damage coming out of Elise is going to be too significant in this game.
Pretty much. Elise, another ranged caster minion that will die incidentally in a team fight.
Pretty much. I mean, what are you supposed to do, right? You can't get into the back lines because you're just getting blown up. You can't do anything about the front line because you don't do enough damage.
You're also Elise, and you throw out a cocoon, and then you got no other CC really to stop and peel. So the Maokai will be stopped for a half second, and then not much really to speak about there.
Yep.
I don't really know what the ROX Tigers been doing this game, though.
It's been odd.
Again, the lack of QSS is like mind-blowing from Evolution.
Yeah, I mean, the real story, I think, is just that early game that Score and Fly were able to put together for this Malzahar. That was a really impressive part, and just the way that KT was able to use this pick and make it so effective, too.
They picked the right lanes for the Graves as well, you know, point-and-click CC, top and bot. Sivert great at proccing the concussive blows from Braum. KT have done everything right. They played it methodically. You know, it's not the most exciting in the last 15 minutes or so where they've just been playing around neutrals, but they've played it smart. But ROX, there are answers from items to deal with this comp. It's not like you can't build lifesteal when you get a QSS. It builds naturally into the Mercurial Scimitar. So I'm just do not understand what Prey's been doing with this build.
Well, looks like 5th Dragon #2. ROX Tigers going to rush the Baron. I don't know if they can take this in time, though. Doesn't look like it. ROX Tigers going for this Desperation Baron. Even if they get this, though, how are they going to fight a KT team with 5 Dragon stacks? Yeah, the ROX Tigers back off, but now they're kind of stuck a little bit in their own jungle.
I mean, Sivert just pops their ult, and they're able to rotate from Dragon to Baron in an instant. So, look, smart try by ROX Tigers, but honestly, low percentage and then some. Ajani actually looking for a flank.
Yeah, think about coming from the side. He's got the Braum ult, uses it to slow up Kuro just a little bit. Gorilla over the wall to help his team. That is a huge amount of damage from that rise. They get one. ROX Tigers, though, occupied. Double kill for Peanut before the end, though. Someday on his own. There's another kill for the ROX Tigers. Are you kidding me? Are they actually turning this around? Flash Root Prison gets cleansed right away by Score. Turns it around for the kill from that Graves. Gets the double onto Gorilla. KT turning it. Smeb comes in with the teleport, though. Can they chase down Arrow and Score, though? Peanut laughing, man. He got a double kill somehow, some way on that Elise. I don't know, man. You see flashes of brilliance sometimes from this ROX Tigers team, but seems like they're still a little bit too far behind this game.
Should have been a 4-for-2. Both Gorilla and Kuro die right at the end for free, basically, just to AoE bounce and bursts of burn damage. We're going to see the replay. Watch for the barrel link, because Chani goes for the flank. Watch how much damage one set of barrels does. Literally almost deletes Fly in one rotation, and then suddenly KT don't have the health bars to fight as 5. Someday is all alone taking 3 persons of damage. The one thing that Prey's build does, when he doesn't have to respect any CC, is pump out a lot of damage. A really nice fight. We're seeing in the minimap, though, on the inset in the screen, that Prey's able to keep the Nexus turrets alive. That was a really close fight between KT and ROX.
Yeah, it was. I mean, if they had kept a couple more members alive, ROX Tigers might have been able to take the Baron, might have been able to make something happen, and now KT is just going to get basically a free Baron off of this.
Yeah, no way ROX Tigers to do anything about this, but if the last fight confirmed anything, double Infinity Edge Trinity Force Gangplank can do damage.
I guess so, yeah. That is a huge damage Gangplank.
Can he pull off the chain link again? That's the question.
I mean, that was a team with 5 Baron stacks, too. It's kind of absurd.
Does a lot of things, but doesn't reduce damage, so damage still big.
True enough. Somebody coming in, on to Peanut a little bit. ROX Tigers disengaging. They're still going to lose this inhibitor, or are they? Maybe. It's getting very low. They get the minions. They keep it alive for the moment, anyway.
Just about lives. Some days at half health, but obviously still very tanky.
There we go. Yep, Score finishing that off.
KT are knocking on the door of being the second team to take down ROX Tigers, but you can see any small misposition and Smeb can really punish them with Gangplank.
Well, it's pretty amazing to think that ROX Tigers were 8,000 gold down where they're essentially, won that team fight.
Would have been 4-for-2 if not for, it's a bit of an overstay.
Yep.
Rise is sitting on 2,700 gold. Hasn't changed build in about 10 minutes, obviously working towards a death cap.
Most likely. ROX Tigers trying to prevent their final inhibitor turret from being taken out.
So far, so good. Waiting to see a Baron buff about 50%. It's another minute and a half of pressure, so a few more waves to deal with. Will KT just go for it? They see Gangplank clearing waves in bot lane.
I think they have to. Sivralt used, Culling used in response. Push back KT a little bit more.
Gangplank's coming up.
Yep, they can go for it now though, yeah. There goes the turret.
fight.
Gangplank is there, throws down one barrel, there's another one, there's a lot of damage again. There's one Gangplank kill already. Someday in the middle of everything, and ROX Tigers just taking too much though. That Malzahar doing work, Arrow as well, getting those crits, getting the bouncing blades, and that is it. KT Rolster will be the second team to take out the ROX Tigers. ROX Tigers, they're still in the finals anyway, but they're not going to win this one. KT takes it in the end. Curled last one. There's the ultimate from Malzahar, and that is going to end it all. GG. KT takes it 2-1.
The better team on balance won the series, though, and you can't say that about ROX Tigers series that often, but KT Rolster played smart, played to their win conditions, almost gave away the game. It was a really nice comeback set of team fights from ROX Tigers, specifically with the chain link on the barrels, but this time they were fighting in the open. This time you can't really pull off the out of vision barrel links. It was a bit more predictable. KT got through that fight, and KT win the series. So important for them as they try and push up in the spots towards second and skip some semblance of this gauntlet, because it's going to be probably the most, I would say undoubtedly, the most competitive gauntlet we've had so far.
It's going to be really close, and it's good for KT to see them performing so well. The Malzahar pick in the third game seemed pretty brilliant. They're going to get the win.
Gangplank did 10,000 damage more than anyone on the side of either team.
It's pretty amazing.
Such as Gangplank.
Yep.
Fly's damage contribution was actually very low, but it was central to their early game.
His CC contribution was huge.
Really, really low. Those first 3 kills bought so much time, so much snowball for a KT comp that if it fell behind, we would have reached this ROX Tigers stage where they could be competitive in team fight 20 minutes earlier. But much later, still smiles on the side of ROX Tigers. They're still in the grand final.
Yeah, that's right. But, you know, one worries. I mean, it's a lot alike season a year ago, you know, where the ROX Tigers had that easy road to the finals by virtue of all their wins in the regular season. And when the finals came, they did not look very good. Got beaten by SK Telecom's B team at the time. So we'll see. Losses like this make you wonder what state the ROX Tigers are going to be in when we get to that grand finals. Hopefully better than this. We'll be back with our second match tonight, Longju versus Samsung. Right after this, don't go anywhere, guys. More Champion Spring coming at you in just a few.